So I actually saw the new Karate Kid Legends movie, and it was actually amazing. Which, of course, seeing two martial arts legends, Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, come together in one movie, which they say is the final movie of the franchise. Of course, the Karate Kid movies, in which they train a new Karate Kid, played by Ben Wang, in which we knew that it actually take place years after the events of the Cobra Kai series. So here is the review of the new Karate Kid Legends, which the movie begins in China, where Mr. Han, played by Jackie Chan, from the 2010 remake, where he is now called Shifu, which is master, who actually teaching students in his own dojo, which of course helping them to learn the ancient way of Kung Fu. And among them is the young prodigy Li Fang, who's played by Ben Wang, where he is a quiet teen who studies martial arts, in which he also wears headphones where he actually trains with music, which that's not a bad idea. However, he decided to actually wanted to learn more, but his mother actually wants him to give up martial arts to actually go to New York, where Dr. Fang, who's actually played by Main Win, who actually promised him not to do martial arts and give it up because of the fact that what happened to his older brother. So he's trying to fit in New York, knowing how it is much different back at home, where he can't actually make any friends. Just like how Daniel and Dre are actually trying to make friends, which we all actually get how all of this actually kind of like a deja vu feeling when it all happens. But then he actually met Mia, who is played by Sandy Stanley, where we knew how she became friends, who is the daughter of former boxer, where he's turned into an Italian pizzeria owner, where Victor actually owns it now because of the fact how Lee is going to help Mia learning Chinese to a shopkeeper in order to get a discount, knowing how they actually will learn different lessons, in which his mother is happy that he made a friend, which is actually a love interest because of the way how they are actually became friends at first. However, trouble have already started when, of course, knowing how we see how they are encountered with a bully named Carter Day. Of course, he is Mia's ex, who is very aggressive, knowing how they are actually learning karate at their dojo, who is known of winning many tournaments, which in underground fighting one, which could be illegal, by which they decided to fight Lee, leaving him with a black eye, knowing how his mother saw it and was actually won't let him do martial arts again. So he decided to actually give him a tutor named Alan, which he would become his friend. And of course, we saw how he is played by Wyatt Olaf. So we knew how they got into a rocky start, which they actually became friends at the end. However, Carter has now actually decided to give Lee a beatdown once more outside the school, knowing how he can defend himself after learning from Mr. Han. But he is proven to be a much stronger fighter, in which all bullies in the Karate Kid movies really are, by which he actually attempts to use a flying kick, just like Dre's flying circle kick and Daniel's crane kick, but it wasn't powerful enough to actually stop Connor, who actually deflected and defeated him, by which caused a backflash when Lee's brother, actually a martial art fighter who won a tournament, but upon winning the tournament, he was stabbed to death by a rival who was angry that he was defeated. So now we knew how he is hurt. However, we saw how Lee saw Victor, who is played by Joshua Jackson, was actually been attacked by gangsters, by which he decided to actually defend Carter and attack the attackers using his skills. So now we knew how Victor is grateful for Lee for defending himself. So he actually decided to actually train him, in which he actually agrees. And knowing how he refused at first, he became an employee at his pizzeria, knowing how his combat match have already started, by which we knew that his opponent, O'Shea, have appeared, knocking him out with so many illegal hits that is actually banned in the boxing arena, by which we can tell how Lee is still paralyzed by his brother's death, knowing how he couldn't do nothing to stop it, in which he went into his room, tore off a flyer, and knowing how he avoided everyone, including denying calls from Mr. Han. So we knew how he came into New York and attacked him. Which he actually, his way of saying hello. So his mother have learned about the tournament called the Five Boroughs, knowing how he is going to help his friends to get over his past trauma and will actually decide to fight Connor in his own game. So his mother knew that he will actually end up like his brother. But Mr. Han say he won't let that happen. So he decided to actually let him compete in the tournament. However, if he's actually going to compete, he's going to learn how to defend himself the other way. And there's only one man for the job to actually help him with that. So Mr. Han decided to head over to Los Angeles, where he actually recruited the OG Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso, in which Ralph Macchio have returned, knowing how he actually knew Mr. Miyagi from a previous past, which Mr. Han and Mr. Miyagi was once friends, which that is one theory. But knowing how Daniel wanted to help, but he can't. So, knowing how he didn't come to New York, so he decided to join them, in which he decided to train Lee where the Asian martial arts way and Miyagi Do karate to help him defend against Carter's attack during the tournament. And outside the pizzeria, he gave him a headband that Mr. Miyagi gave to him, knowing how he say 2 branches, 1 tree, in which Carter actually won't actually, defeated him. So he actually decided to battle, in which bonding with Alan and actually develop feelings for Mia. So now we knew how they have actually saw Lee fighting through the tournament, in which, of course, knowing how Daniel and Mr. Han also battled people on their way to the subway, in which, of course, they also battled together by the fact that they, knowing how they're going to fight in the tournament, which Carter and Lee face each other, by the fact that they are actually doing the 8-point match, which instead of the original 3-point match, in which they fight gaining more points, and they knew that they're all tied, knowing how Lee can actually defeat Carter using a new flying kick, winning his match and getting over his brother's death, in which Carter have already decided to accept defeat, in which later, after the tournament, Victor have already decided to open a second pizzeria along with Mia, and Mr. Han have returned to China to teach his students, in which we knew how Lee had sent a pizza over to Daniel, which he shared with Johnny Lawrence, who made a cameo appearance, knowing how delivering a pizza from New York to Los Angeles would be a better idea. By which, of course, knowing that he got an idea called Miyagi Do, which is a dojo themed pizzeria, which it could be a good idea, and the movie actually ends there. Now, I really enjoy the movie where we see Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio meet each other for the first time for this movie, in which, of course, knowing of what actually has happened after Cobra Kai, by which we knew how it was doing well by the fact that it actually won the Sekai tournament. But the movie was actually incredible, knowing that we get to see Paz's character, which is Daniel, the remake character, and the new characters, for the fact that it was actually incredible. Although we knew how the fighting scene where we saw Lee actually kick one of the attackers with the fire escape ladder, that was actually incredible with the choreography and how it all matched the scenes during each fight scenes. So I actually cannot wait to see more movies coming out this year, including movies of this summer. So I can't wait. So anyway, like this video, subscribe for more, and comment what you think about the movie review You guys can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and my Facebook page and Twitch. Until then, this is Anime God Drone here saying signing out. Laters.